I got here a little too late because there was no programs left. I had to steal one from the bench. The Lake Mills assistant coaches gave me one, set me up there, so I appreciate that too. About to get underway here with Forest City serving, and it'll be Kelsey Koch doing the, I think it's either Koch or Koch. Did you catch it? Paul doesn't know either, but we'll just go with number 1. as she is pretty much in the middle of the service line, gets it across, and we are underway from Lake Mills. There's a nice dig out by Haley Miller, and that's put down, and the first point goes to Forest City. If you're not familiar with volleyball these days, you get a point scored on every serve, whether you're on defense or offense. You don't have to be serving to score anymore in the volleyball game. There's a shot that falls in off of Hannah Anderson for a point for Lake Mills, and it's tied up at 1. I believe it was Taya Kessler. We'll give her the kill. Serving is the Libero Dana Bauman. Libero means she can play anywhere on the back line. That's another point for Lake Mills, and they're fired up. 2-1, they take the lead. Do the Bulldogs. Bauman on the back line, close to the middle, a little bit on the left side, serving. That one is handled and gotten back across to the Bulldogs. There's Wilhelm trying to slam it home, but able to dig it out are the Indians. There's one that goes off of Miller again. Taya Kessler with her second kill. It's 3-1 for Lake Mills. Bauman on a roll. Competing with the Indians student section right in front of us. And they are loud and proud, and that's good. Forest City's gonna get the serve back, as you see there, off of Lake Mills. And out of bounds, 3-2 now, Bulldogs. Back to service number 12, Hannah Anderson. I have no class affiliation or statistics for the Forest City players. That's a point for Lake Mills. 4-2 now, in favor of the Bulldogs. Substitutions coming in. Jaden Joint goes out, and Audrey Casperson comes in opposite. That means on the right side. She's a 5'8" junior. Serving is Ashley Groh, setter for Lake Mills. She gets it across there. It's dug out. Set up and over, and scoring the point there. Cora Holland makes it 4-3 Lake Mills. Forest City back serving again. It's Aaron Kaler. Actually, I don't have number 15 on my list here, but I have very little information for Forest City. Oh, Forest City crowd thought they'd scored the point there, but not so. Kept alive by Lake Mills. They get it back across, and it's a nice block there for the point. 5-3, Lake Mills up now in the first game here of this conference grudge match between Forest City and the Bulldogs. Serving Mallory Wilhelm for Lake Mills. Blocked there up front by Hannah Hansen and kept alive by Lake Mills, but then hit into the net. Audrey Casperson struggling with that one. Point goes to Forest City, and it's 5-4 Lake Mills. As expected, teams playing close game here, both being undefeated in conference play here near the end of the season. Set up nicely and blocked there at the net by Lake Mills. Kessler gets blocked back. And a point ties it up for Forest City. 5-5 here in the first game tonight. Wilhelm gets the dig out of the back row there. That's slammed down by Hansen, but dug out, and Bauman barely able to get a hand on that one and knocks it out of bounds. So now the first lead on the night for Forest City, 6-5. There's Wilhelm struggling with that one. Off of the upper arms there and back out of bounds. 7-5, Forest City. Serving is Bria Delaveau. That's dug out nicely by Kessler. Set up and slammed home there by Hannah Hansen, 5'9" junior. Got it in there for a point. 7-6 stops the momentum for Forest City, but the Indians do have the lead by one now. Kessler goes back to serve. The 5'8" senior serves it right into the net. Bauman comes in for her right away, and it goes back to Forest City, and they score a point to take a 2-point advantage, 8-6. Bauman digs it out of the back row. It's set up and pounded over by Hansen, and yeah, they struggled with it, and it's a point for Lake Mills, and they'll get the serve back, and more importantly, cut the lead to 1, 8-7 in favor of Forest City. Jaden Joyt comes back in for her serving. She's going to take it all the way over to the right side of the service line. There's a set and a hit over by Forest City, and that finds a spot on the floor. Kaylee Miller with the kill there, and 9-7 Forest City. A couple of substitutions for the Indians. 9-7, Lake Mills trailing, first game here. And again, trouble with the serve in the back row, and Hansen finally gets it across with over her head, two-handed shot. That one's blocked at the net by the Indians, and they're gonna set it. Wow, nice rally going for both teams. Dinked across there by Hansen. In the back row, Bauman digs that one out. A set and a block out of bounds, and Hannah Hansen right there, knocking it off the Indian player and out of bounds for a point for Lake Mills. And they cut it to 1 again, 9-8. With Laura Knutson going back to serve, taking it over to the left side service line. Dug out of the back row for Forest City, but out of bounds on the spike there, so it's tied up 9-9. 9-9 with Knutson serving. Just slammed home there, and a point for Forest City. Nobody home for Lake Mills. That means the Indians take the 10-9 lead, and they're back on the serve. This is Kelsey Koch. That's blocked down by number 12, Hannah Anderson, right at the net. And so now it's a 2-point advantage for Forest City, 11-9. A serve into the net by Koch there means that Lake Mills will get the serve back and a point. 11-10 now, Lake Mills trailing. They play, of course, 25, win by 2. Best of 5 games. Bauman back serving again for Lake Mills. Blocked at the net, but drops to the floor for a point for the red-clad Forest City Indians. And their advantage is again 2 points, 12-10. Hannah Anderson serving. Knocked across there by Kessler. A soft shot over the net for Forest City, and there's Wilhelm knocking it over. Dug out nicely by Forest City. Bauman with a nice dig. Here comes a power shot from Mallory Wilhelm, and that one's out of bounds. A little long on the shot by Forest City. It cuts the lead to 12-11. Lake Mills with the serve now, going back to do the honors is Ashley Grow. setter, 5'8" senior. Trailing by 1, puts it over, and nice dig there by Hannah Anderson. They get it across, but was it in? No, it was out. No, they're going to call it in. No, they're calling it out. I can't tell who's booing. It's 12-12. I think the scoreboard had a little trouble with that one too because they didn't put up the 12 right away. So it was hard to tell, but that was out long, they called it. So Lake Mills with the point. And Ashley Groh continues to serve with the tie score at 12. Ooh, nice dig, but Kessler did all she could with that one, but couldn't get it up in the air enough to get it over to another player. So back over to Forest City. They lead now 13-12. Well, you can tell these teams are fairly evenly matched. It's been a close contest the whole way. Lake Mills had a 2-point lead early. Then it was tied, and then Forest City go up by 1 or 2. They currently lead by 1. That's blocked at the net by the Indians. Knocked across there by Lake Mills, and here's a spike right at the net by Cora Holland. And she puts it in for a 2-point Forest City advantage, 14-12. 14-12, Forest City. Joint digs it out of the back row here. They get it across with Kessler, slamming it in to the defense there. Can't handle it. Lake Mills, a couple of players close together, both trying to get it up and set, but couldn't do it. Now a 3-point advantage for Lake Mills, or for Forest City over Lake Mills. 15-12 here in game 1. We'll be back with more action after this on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. We're back in Lake Mills, 15-12, Forest City with the advantage. And these two clubs are both 7-0 in conference play, top of Iowa Conference, which of course Lake Mills has owned for years, 13 or 14 in a row. And they're getting a stiff test tonight from Forest City. The Indians are up by 3 here in game 1 of the best of 5. Got to win by 2, up to 25 in each game. Forest City serving with that 3-point advantage. And their student section is loud and proud here, as they should be. Well, you got to get Lake Mills back in action. That's knocked out of bounds, though, by the Bulldogs. So it's now a 4-point lead, 16-12. This one is hit over the net there by Kessler and dug out nicely. Knocked back over to Lake Mills. Bauman sets. Kessler hits, but it's kept in play by Forest City there. Nice diving shot there by Ashley Groh to dig it out of the back row. Action is fast and furious. Nice rally going here for both clubs. That one is finally finds a spot on the floor, point Lake Mills. And they stop that momentum and cut the lead to 3, 16-13. And back to serve is 5'11" senior Mallory Wilhelm, the middle hitter. She takes a spot on the right side of the service line. And that one hit over and down by Kaylee Miller. And it's 17-13 for City, and they have the serve back with a 4-point advantage. Wilhelm hits, gets a dig out of the back row there. It almost hit the rafters. And that one almost out of the reach of Wilhelm, but she knocks it out of bounds, and it's 18-13 for City. 5-point lead, the biggest for either team so far. Bauman digs that one. Set by Hansen and knocked over by Kessler. Forest City gets it back over to the Bulldogs. And Bauman's gonna set it up. Knocked over by Ashley Groh. Groh sets it there and knocked over by Audrey Casperson. And forced to knock it out of bounds are the Forest City Indians. So it goes back over to Lake Mills for the serve. And the lead is 18-14 in favor of Forest City. Lake Mills' only loss on the year was to a bigger school, Western Iowa. I want to say Sioux City, but I can't remember quite, but one of those schools out there. There's a kill from Kessler. They call it in. Point Lake Mills. It's 18-15 now. Bulldogs down by 3. With Kessler serving. She dug that one out, and nice and set up there by Hannah Hansen. Here we go, trying to get, oh, that hits the rafters. It's usually not good news, but Forest City able to deal with it and get it back over to the Bulldogs. And there's a slam home by Cora Holland to get the serve back to Forest City, and they are up now by 4, 19-15. Getting down to the nitty-gritty of this first game. 19-15, Forest City. Dug out of the back row there by Mallory Wilhelm. Knocked over by Casperson for Lake Mills. There's a set by Hansen, and whoa, nice diving dig out there by Cora Holland for Forest City. She digs another one out and gets it over. That one blocked at the net and down. Point Forest City. They're up 20-15. Early going. Forest City has Lake Mills on the run here. Indians up 5. And serving. There's Wilhelms. No, that was Hansen slamming one home. Hannah Hansen with another kill. A couple for her on the night. 20-16. And Jaden Joint comes in to serve. Defensive specialist, 5'5" senior. 6 seniors on this Lake Mills team. Joint gets it across. Nice dig out of that back row from Mallory Wilhelm, and that's knocked over to the Indians. Grow to Joint and over by Hansen. It was soft hit over, a nice diving shot by Jaden Joint to get it back over, but that's going to fall in for another point for Lake Mills. Megan Grow dove at it, but could not quite get the handle on it. 21-16, Forest City. 4 points away from winning the first game. And serve, it's knocked down there by Emma Segerstrom for another point for Forest City. They're up 22-16 now. Timeout, Lake Mills. And we'll be back with more volleyball action from Lake Mills. 22-16 Forest City on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. We're in Lake Mills for high school volleyball action as we near the end of the conference season here, and regions coming up fairly soon. I know Lake Mills has their match here with Forest City tonight, and then they have a quad next Tuesday here. Lake Mills will be on the air with that one starting a little before 6. Game time is 6. Hampton, Dumont, Nashua, Plainfield, and North Butler will be here. Take it on Lake Mills. And then they have Saturday the 14th game, 9 a.m. at Algona to wrap up their season. And we'll be on the air with football this Friday too. Lake Mills at home against Central Springs, wrapping up their, I think that's the wrap on the football season. They might have another away game, but we of course cover just the home games for Lake Mills. That one off of a Forest City player. So the serve will go back to Lake Mills, and they get a point out of that, 22-17 now. Trailing by 5, they've got to get a string together here of points with Laura Knutson serving. Left side, service line. She puts it over. Bauman digs that out of there. Wilhelm knocks it over. Oh, Jaden Joint trying to dig it out of that back row, just not able to do so. And Forest City crawling closer to a win in game one here. 23-17 with the serve. Wilhelm knocks it over, but dug out nicely by the Indians. That one's blocked at the net by Lake Mills, but Forest City able to recover and knock it down to take a 24-17 lead in game point here. First game. That's a nice dig by Bauman. Wilhelm out of bounds. First game goes 25-17 to Forest City. And we'll be back with more action volleyball here from Lake Mills on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. We are back in Lake Mills. Forest City having won the first game of this big conference tilt. 25-17 was the final. And here on Lake Mills, that is a rarity to fall behind early and lose the first game that I've seen anyway. I've been here for some home games and they usually cruise to victory, but both teams are 7-0 here in conference play, and Forest City's 20-2 overall. Lake Mills 29-1. Their only loss, a non-conference school on the eastern part of Iowa. So really, this is one of the rare times they're getting tested, and we'll see what happens. I mean, you can be hyped up at the beginning, and that doesn't mean you'll be there at the end. It's could be a long 5-game match. We'll see what happens here in game two as we are getting underway with Lake Mills serving. And it's Laura Knutson doing the honors. That's knocked home by Mallory Wilhelm for a big kill and an early 1-0 lead for Lake Mills. And it is Laura Knutson serving from the left side of the service line. That's dug out nicely there by Koch. Bauman knocks it back in, but that's out of bounds. Ashley Groh hit it over, but way out of bounds, so 1-1. Koch is serving now for Forest City. Wilhelm goes up, but she gets blocked, then digs it out herself. Back over to Megan Groh, and the same thing happened to her. She got blocked and had to dig it out. Blocked there at the net by Wilhelm, and down for a point for Lake Mills. 2-1 lead now for the Bulldogs. Nice job by Wilhelm. Kessler, Wilhelm, and Ashley Groh right up front at the net. 5'8", 5'11", and 5'8". And there's a nice try there off the net. Ashley Groh, precarious situation, trying to knock that one up and get it to somebody who can hit it over. So 2-2 now, early going with Forest City taking the serve again. Forest City winning the first game, 25-17. That one's put down and in by Taya Kessler. 3-2 Lake Mills. Back to serve Ashley Groh, number 16 for Lake Mills in their white unis and black shorts. The Indians in the red tops, black shorts. Nice dig there by Groh, and knocked out of bounds. Kessler got it over, and her opposite, number 9, Brea Delaveau, knocked it out of bounds. So another point for Lake Mills, and they're up 4-2. Pretty important that they win this game. Don't want to go down 2-0. It's going to be off of a speaker or light or something, and works against Lake Mills. I rarely see them hitting it into the rafters. Usually it's the visiting team here in Lake Mills that does that. But already tonight, 2 or 3 times, Lake Mills has had that happen. That's the first time it backfired on them and lost a point. 4-3, Lake Mills ahead. That one hit the rafters again, and it changes the trajectory of the ball. So if you're headed one way to try and set it or dig it or kill it, it just changes things and throws you off. So it's 4-4. Blocked there by Cora Holland of Forest City, but a point eventually there for Lake Mills as Audrey Casperson knocks one home. And that gives Lake Mills the 5-4 lead and the serve back. Serving is Wilhelm. And that one sent home by Holland. Off a Lake Mills player and out of bounds. 5-5 here in game 2. Lake Mills losing the first game, 25-17. Needing a win here so they don't have to win 3 in a row to pull this out. I mean, they could win 3 in a row, but they wouldn't have to if they lost this game. They would have to. That's another point for the Bulldogs. 6-5, they lead. Dug out by Holland. There's a whistle. Gonna get somebody in the net, I guess, for Lake Mills, and that'll take it back over to Forest City. 6-6 tie here. Cora Holland will serve for the Indians. And that is Hannah Hansen smashing it home for her 3rd kill. 7-6 Lake Mills. Jaden Joint comes in and she will go back to serve. My guess is that usually is how it happens. She needs to get on a roll here and give the Bulldogs a cushion. Nice serve, nice and low, had to be dug out. But they do, and they send it over off of Bauman and get the point back to tie it up at 7. And Forest City with the serve again. These two teams are alone at the top of the conference standings at 7-0. So really the winner of this match tonight is, if they don't win it outright, will have a best chance at it. That was slammed home, I believe, by Joy. It could have been Hansen. Give it to Hansen. She was jumping up and down. So give it to her for the kill. 8-7 Lake Mills. Serving is Laura Knutson. Another senior defensive specialist, 5'4". She gets it across there and nice dig. Here we go, and knocked out of bounds by Forest City. Megan Groh with the slam, and that goes off of an Indian player. And 9-7 now, 2-point advantage for Lake Mills as Knutson continues serving. That was out of bounds. No. Yeah. See, I was confused because I thought the ref said it was out of bounds, but Forest City was celebrating. 10-7 Lake Mills lead. Met with some boos from the student section here, but I don't expect anything else from these guys. They're at the top of their game, the Lake Mills, or the Forest City student section that was right next to us, barking in our ears. Nice block at the net there, Wilhelm. Now it's an 11-7 advantage, and some worried looks on the faces of the Indian players, just like they were on the Bulldogs players in the first game, as they fall behind a bit. This biggest lead of the night for Lake Mills. That's blocked at the net. I'm not sure if it was Wilhelm or Groh, but they were both there. And now it's 12-7, timeout, Forest City. Lake Mills with the advantage here after losing the first game. It's 12-7 on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. Lake Mills leading 12-7 here in the second game of a conference championship tilt. Losing game 1, 25-17. They've come back now to take a 12-7 lead. And the Bulldogs bench is right under the Forest City student section, who is very loud and raucous tonight. They are very much into it on both sides of the gym tonight. 12-7 Lake Mills with the serve. There's a set and a smash by Wilhelm, but they're calling it in. Yep, it was on the line. 13-7. Is that Knutson still serving? Or no, Jaden Joyner. Oh, it's Knutson. Okay. I was right. Go with your instinct, Jay. That's knocked over, but out of bounds for Forest City. So now the Bulldogs have opened up a 7-point lead, 14-7. And the Forest City student section isn't so loud now. That's dug out of the back row nicely. Block at the net, but it bounces the wrong way for Lake Mills and falls on their side of the floor. So the serve goes back to Forest City. But the Bulldogs lead 14-8. Kelsey Koch is serving. That's blocked at the net by Brea Delaveau of Forest City for another point, 14-9. Lefty is Koch for Forest City. That's blocked but out of bounds, so a point goes back to Lake Mills as Wilhelm hits it off one of the Indian players and out of bounds. 15-9 now, big 6-point advantage. 10 points away from tying this thing up are the Bulldogs. Seemingly in control here, but that can change. That one's knocked out of bounds by the Indians. 16-9. Bauman's back, the libero for Lake Mills serving. Up, miscommunication there by Forest City. It was dug out by Emma Segerstrom, but Cora Holland didn't go after it. And now it's a 17-9 advantage for Lake Mills, and we'll be back with more action on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. Back on LakeMillsBulldogs.com, we are Bulldogs TV, powered by Live Sports Live, online at LakeMillsBulldogs.com. Also on Facebook, Facebook.com/Bulldogs-TV. 17-9 advantage, Lake Mills here in the second game after losing the first one 25-17. They have, oh, nice diving dig by Bauman, but it's knocked out of bounds eventually by Lake Mills, and that'll be a point for Forest City. 17-10 now, Bulldogs leading here in game 2. Both teams 7-0 in conference. They've only lost 3 games all year between the two teams. That one skims the net and goes over for Hannah Anderson, who is serving for Forest City and unable to handle it, the Bulldogs. 17-11 now. This one is smashed home and down by Kessler, I believe. That'll give Lake Mills an 18-11 lead. They're hitting the lines tonight, that's for sure. A lot of these, from our vantage point, from mine anyway, of course I have bad eyesight, but they look like they're close calls, and Forest City cheering section giving the raspberries to a lot of these, but they'll do that. There's a kill for Forest City. They get the serve back, but they still trail by 6, 18-12. And a player with a number bigger than anything I have on my sheet goes back to serve for Forest City. That's fine, they can play that way. I'll adjust. There's a Kessler at the net, but she knocks it out of bounds. So 18-13. Forest City closing to 5 points now. Lake Mills got to get that serve back and go on a roll, get a game here. That's blocked down, but on their side by Forest City. So 19-13 Lake Mills. As Hansen comes back in, Hannah Hansen, the 5'9" junior. Some more height up front with Wilhelm back to serve. She's the tallest player on the team, 5'11". But Hansen right behind her at 5'9". (19-13) Lake Mills. Oh, nice block Kessler got it back over there, and they couldn't handle that one, so it's 20-13 now in favor of the Bulldogs in this second game. 13-time defending champion of the top of Iowa Conference is Lake Mills. A lot on the line tonight. That one is knocked home by Forest City. So they'll get the serve back and a point to cut it to 6. 20-14. Brea Delaveau serves. Kessler with the shot across the net that isn't handled right and knocks a point up on the board for the Bulldogs. 21-14. Coach Jim Beamer is up and barking instructions to the team, sensing maybe a victory here in the second game, within 4 points of it. That one's knocked back across by Forest City, but it goes out of bounds. It's 22-14 Lake Mills, as they get closer to evening up this match at a game apiece. It's dug out nicely by Forest City and knocked over the net, which Audrey Casperson dug that one out. That one's hit home by Hannah Hansen. 23-14 in favor of the Bulldogs. Megan Groh, Hannah Hansen, and Audrey Casperson across the front line for the Bulldogs. That one's knocked over and off of the hands of Mallory Wilhelm for a point for Forest City. They're not done yet here. 23-15 though, in favor of Lake Mills. Forest City with the serve. That one is a soft hit over there by Casperson. Casperson sets, Hansen hits, and it's kept alive and over by Forest City. It's a good rally for both teams here. Blocked at the net by Hansen. Casperson keeps it alive. There's Groh knocking it over. Well, it's the longest point of the night so far. That is knocked home by Hannah Hansen to bring it to game point here for Lake Mills. 24-19. Unofficially, I have 6 kills for Hansen. She's been on fire tonight. She and Kessler have been killing them. 24-15. They need 1 here, and Jaden Joint's back to serve for the Bulldogs. 5'5" senior. See if they can get it done and tie this thing up at a game apiece. That is the ball game there, the game 2 anyway. 25-15 in favor of Lake Mills. So they return the favor, and it's 1 game apiece. We'll go to the third game after this on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. Well, we're tied at a game apiece here in this conference championship tilt between Lake Mills, 7-0 in conference, 29-1 overall, and Forest City. The Indians are 7-0 in conference as well, and they're 20-2 overall. Lake Mills ranked 6th in Class 2A in the state of Iowa, while Forest City is ranked 15th in 3A. 1 game each. Third one about to start with Forest City serving. And here we go. See who can get the advantage in this very pivotal game. That one, diving, was Bauman, but unable to get a hold of it. So 1-0 early lead Forest City. Some of our newer sponsors would like to thank Winworth Betco, Americana Insurance, Farmers Trust and Savings Bank, as well as PrintMajor.com and America's Mattress developmentally new in the last couple of weeks here to our family. Appreciate that. That one's knocked down and in by Forest City for a 2-0 lead. And of course, our sponsors have been with us since the beginning of the year: BizWiz Marketing LLC, Young Plumbing and Heating, Womack Design, Dave's Auto Service, Sophia Asa Photography. That one's knocked home by Wilhelm off of Kaylee Miller for the first point for Lake Mills here in the game 3. 2-1, Indians lead. Bauman back to serve. Also, Wilkinson Tool and Die, Tri-State Tax, North Iowa Therapeutic Massage, Lake Mills Chamber Development Corporation, Amish Heirlooms Furniture, Midwest Metal Stamping, as Lake Mills scores again, 2-2 now. Thrivent Financial, Dale's Body Shop, and Carl Bladel Construction. Thank you one and all for being with us. Bauman gets a service point there. It's 2-2 now here in game 3. A game apiece between these two conference titans at the top of the standings. That one's knocked down and in by Emma Segerstrom. Pretty much hit everybody on the Lake Mills team, it looked like. It dribbled off 3 or 4 of them up front for another point for Forest City. 3-2, they lead now, and they're serving. There's Wilhelm smacking it over. And returning the favor is Emma Segerstrom. Blocked at the net by Forest City, and they have trouble with that one. It's going to be a point for Lake Mills. She hit it, double hit or something. She's claiming is Bria Delaveau that she hit it with both hands, but I think it ricocheted off both. Anyway, it's a point for Lake Mills. 3-3 now with Ashley Groh serving. And dug out nicely there by Knutson. Block at the net by Forest City was nice. Knocked over there by Audrey Casperson for Lake Mills, and then dug out of the back row again. Ashley Groh. This one is going to go off of the Forest City player and out of bounds for a point for Lake Mills. 4-3. Bulldogs advantage now as Ashley Groh continues to serve. Up and over. Blocked out of bounds, but into the net was Cora Holland for a point for Lake Mills. 5-3 now, Bulldog advantage here in the third game. Forest City winning the first game 25-17. Lake Mills coming back 25-15 in game number 2. And now 5-3, Lake Mills up in the third. Smacked over by Wilhelm, but they're able to dig it out, and it's blocked out of bounds by Casperson. And a point for Forest City as they trim that lead to 1 now. 5-4 Lake Mills with the Indians serving. That one is knocked over by Kessler. Got a piece of the net there, and that will be a carry, or whatever they call that, on Lake Mills. So a point goes to Forest City, and that ties it up 5-5. Wilhelm with the smash there, able to dig it out. This Forest City blocked at the net and out of bounds by Delaveau, and that's a point for Lake Mills. And look at the serve back, 6-5 their advantage. Wilhelm will go back to serve, and they get Hansen in the game for the height at the net. From the right side of the service line, and unable to handle that. So another point for Lake Mills. They're up 7-5. Seven to 5 with Mallory Wilhelm serving. Wilhelm gets a piece of that one and saves it, but unable to get it over with Kessler, and that's a point for the Indians, and they cut it to 7-6, the lead now for Lake Mills. (7-0) Forest City serving to 7-0 Lake Mills. Conference records. Up and over and down. Cora Holland scoring the point there for Forest City. That ties it up at 7. Kessler unable to get it over, and that will mean that Forest City takes their first lead here in the third game. 8-7. Well, they might have had a 1-0 lead, I guess, but 8-7 here in game 3 in favor of Forest City. Hanson knocks it off of Dillavo and out of bounds for Lake Mills point, and it's 8-8. Hannah Hanson's on fire tonight. She's raining down the kills all over the place. Kessler goes back to serve for Lake Mills with an 8-8 score. Gently knocked over by Forest City for a point, and they go up 9-8. All right, that is Hanson with the attempted kill. That's out of bounds. Long shot by Forest City gives the point to Lake Mills. And it is 9-9 here in the third game. Each team winning one. Forest City won the opening game 25-17. Lake Mills came back 25-15. And now 9-9 with Jaden Joint serving. And that's long as well by Forest City as they're getting too, maybe they had too many Wheaties for breakfast. I don't know. That's what I always used to blame it on. Nonetheless, 10-9 lead now for Jaden Joint and the Lake Mills Bulldogs as she sends her serve over. Nice dig by Bauman. And the kill by Hanson. She's really slamming them home tonight. And that's about 9 or 10 kills for her. Joint is on a roll, and it's 11-9 Lake Mills. That one hits the net, and they hit it under. 12-9 Bulldogs. 3 or 4 points in a row now for Jaden. Defensive specialist, serving well tonight, 5'5" senior. And that one, not so good. 12-10 as Forest City gets the serve back. Indians trailing by 2. Both student sections are really rocking tonight. It's fun to see. And of course, sportsmanship is good. That's something they stress. That one is a point for Lake Mills as they get the serve back, and they're up 3 now, 13-10. Of course, it's hot in here too, so these kids are going to sleep well tonight after they exert all this energy. Not only the players, but the student sections for each of the schools. Softly put down and in by Holland, and a point for Forest City now makes it 13-11 Lake Mills. Starting to go back and forth here a little bit. Point here and a point there for each team. Lake Mills had opened up a 4-point advantage, but back down to 2 now. Blocked at the net by the Indians, but smashed back across by Lake Mills. That's hit out of bounds by Forest City, so 14-11 Bulldogs. Kessler comes back in. You got Kessler, Wilhelm, and Ashley Groh, 5'8", 5'8", and 5'11" across the front line for Lake Mills. Kessler gets the dig, and that's, Wilhelm hitting it into the net. 14-12 now as it goes back over to Forest City. Serve incoming, set by Groh and knocked over by Wilhelm and in. Don't always have to smash it. Sometimes you just dink it over and that works just as well. It's 15-12, 3-point advantage. Timeout called here. We'll be back with more action on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. Back at Lake Mills, big volleyball tilt here with the top 2 teams in the top of Iowa Conference going at it. Each winning a game. Forest City taking the opener, 25-17. Lake Mills coming back 25-15 in the second game, and now it's a 15-12 advantage for the Bulldogs here in game 3. Best of 5. So still a lot of volleyball action to come here on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. Tell your friends and family about Bulldogs TV, powered by Live Sports Live, online at LakeMillsBulldogs.com. We've got volleyball, and we've got a football game coming up Friday for Lake Mills, and then volleyball quad next Tuesday. Basketball for the boys and girls still to come. And that was blocked by Lake Mills and dug out nicely by Forest City, and blocked at the net but out of bounds by Wilhelm. And that narrows the lead to 2 now, 15-13 in favor of the Bulldogs. Are we doing wrestling this year, do you know, Paul? I noticed Alexander wrote that down, but I don't know if he was serious. I don't know anything about wrestling, so it's tough. I'll have to read some books, see what's going on with wrestling. But I was not all that informed about volleyball either. But what a fun group this Lake Mills volleyball team is. That one's put down and in by Kaylee Miller of Forest City for the point. And now it's a 1-point lead, 15-14 for Lake Mills. But Forest City with the serve. Oh, that one hit their rafters, but they're able to gather themselves and get it back over. Nice shot. Nice job by Mallory Wilhelm. Sitting at the net, saw it come up over the net and just kind of flushed it for a 2-point Lake Mills advantage, and Wilhelm will go back to serve here. She needs to go on a run, get the Bulldogs another win. And that one is hit long by Forest City. 16-14 Lake Mills. Or no, they're calling it, my mistake, they called it in. 16-15 Lake Mills. Here's Kessler trying to get a kill, and it works. Taya with her 6th of the evening. And it's 17-15 Lake Mills. I've had trouble reading the referee's calls tonight more than ever before. That one is high dig, almost hit the rafters. 17-15 Lake Mills. Blocked at the net was Megan Groh. It's kept alive, but nope, that's going to be a double hit there on Miller. And a point for Lake Mills, 18-15. Kessler serving. 7 big points they need here. That was blocked nicely by Hansen and able to save it for a City. But Hansen gets in the way of that one as it comes over the net. And it's knocked down and in by, who is that? Number 2, Megan Groh. 19-15. 19-15 Lake Mills. Serving is Kessler. Nice dig there by Casperson. But they're unable to get it back over. And so Forest City will take the serve, and they trail by 3 now, 19-16. Tension-filled gym here in Lake Mills. Both these teams at the top of the conference, at the top of Iowa Conference. That one is a nice shot there by number 3, Cora Holland of Forest City. That makes it 19-17 Lake Mills. Bauman sets, and Megan Groh knocks it over, but Forest City coming back, but they can't get quite over the net, and it's 20-17 Lake Mills. Jim Beamer screaming out some words of encouragement and instruction to his team. They're up 3 here, having won the second game by 10, losing the first by 8. Up 3 here in the third, and that's knocked out of bounds by Forest City, so 21-17 Lake Mills. Played at 25, win by 2. Timeout called. 4-point advantage for the Bulldogs on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. The scene is Lake Mills High School, and these are the two best volleyball teams in this conference, and they're showing it tonight. Showing it tonight, 21-17 with Lake Mills up here, but Forest City, of course, not out of it. Each team winning a game here tonight. Both are 7-0 in the conference. 29-1 overall for Lake Mills, 20-2 for the Indians. Both highly ranked in the state of Iowa, too. With Lake Mills 6th in 2A. There's a point for the Bulldogs. Off the nice serve of Jaden Joint. She's been their best server tonight, lately. 22-17, 3 points away from a big, huge win, a second game win. Not a match win, but Groh sets it, and that's blocked back by Hannah Anderson, and it's not over yet. 22-18, Forest City crawling within 4. As I was saying, 6th ranked are the Bulldogs in 2A, 15th ranked are the Indians in 3A. That one leaks across the net, and point there for Forest City, so it's 22-19. Getting a little too close for comfort here for the Bulldogs. They got to get that serve back. 22-19. Joint with a dig. Groh with a set, knocked over by Megan Groh. Megan and Ashley both in the game for Lake Mills. That one's nicely played by Hannah Hansen. Hit them where they ain't. Hannah does it, and it's 23-19. Lake Mills. Hansen goes out, and in comes Laura Knutson to serve. Needing 2 points to put Lake Mills up 2-1 in a best-of-5 conference championship tilt. Blocked at the net nicely. Both Wilhelm and Ashley Groh were there, but I believe Groh got that one. 24-19, game point for Laura Knutson. Since 2003, nobody's won the top of Iowa Conference except Lake Mills here in volleyball. That one is in for a nice shot from Forest City to stave off defeat here in game 3. 24-20, Lake Mills in the lead as the Indians get the serve, and Knutson digging that one out. Wilhelm puts it down for the win. 25-20. We'll come back for game 4 here of this fantastic matchup on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. We are back at Lake Mills High School, and things are getting rowdy here. The student sections are chanting back and forth, and it is 2-1 Lake Mills. Forest City won the first game 25-17. Lake Mills has come back to win the next two, 25-15 and 25-20. Both teams are undefeated in the conference, and so this is really for the marbles in the top of Iowa Conference. And Lake Mills serving to start game 4. That's knocked out of bounds by Forest City, so they're up 1-0 are the Bulldogs. There's gonna be a lot of hoarse voices tomorrow because you can't hear anything with these both crowds going nuts. 2-0 Lake Mills. Nice serve there, unable to handle it were the Indians. Wilhelm knocks it off of Kaylee Miller for another point. 3-0. Lake Mills just needs to win one of the next two. Forest City has to win the next 2 games. A lot of pressure on the Indians. That's knocked over by Groh. That'd be Megan. but able to play it out and knock it off of the Lake Mills players and out of bounds for their first point here in game 4. 3-1, Bulldogs lead. 2-1 in games. That is Ashley Groh and Megan Groh both in the game here. I got to keep my Grohs straight. As Forest City is able to, no, they weren't. I thought they were able to get a point out of that, but no, it's 4-1 Lake Mills. As Bauman is serving. Knocked into the net by Emma Segerstrom of Forest City. And it's 5-1 Lake Mills. They need to run away and just hide with this one and end it before Forest City gets back into things. But this Indians team has fought tough, tooth and nail all night long. And early on looked like they had Lake Mills' number. That's knocked in for a point for Forest City. 5-2 now as the Indians have the serve back, trailing by 3. That one danced on top of the net and did not go over. So an easy point for Lake Mills, 6-2 now their lead. It's nice to get a point. You don't have to do anything. Just watch the ball not fall over the net. We'll take those every time. 6-2 Lake Mills. Serving is Ashley Groh. Wow, that power shot there by Forest City's Kelly Cook. Cook. Could be any one of them. And so now it's 6-3 Lake Mills. Groh with the set and Wilhelm with the smash, but dug out nicely by the Indians. Oh, they have trouble with that one though. And it's 7-3 Bulldogs. And Beamer keeps that substitution going, man. He plays 7-8 deep, just keeps them coming in, keeps them fresh. 7-3, Bulldogs lead. A new alignment at the net here. Kind of playing behind each other, and then they spread out as soon as the serve is on the way. Kessler almost got that one. But Forest City able to dig it out. Here's Hansen smashing one over. Dug out again by the Indians. Wilhelm with the set to Kessler, who knocks it over. And that's hit into the net by the Indians. 8-3 Bulldogs. 5-point advantage. Coach Beamer is very active here. He wants to end this now. No need to go to the 5th and deciding game. Let's get out of this with a win. Take another conference championship. Stretching back to 03. Ooh, nice. That one hit a rafter and changed direction, but Forest City able to manage it and get it over. Kessler with a smash, but dug out by number 1, Coke. This Kessler again, knocking it off of an Indian player, number 12, Hannah Henderson. So now it's 9-3. As Lake Mills starts to pull away a bit here. Jim Beamer is all excited. He was smiling and pumping his fist. Blocked at the net by Kessler and Hansen, and they get it down and score a point. Timeout is called now. 10-3, Lake Mills leading here in what could be the deciding game of the match. And we'll be back with more on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. Both teams playing well tonight. Forest City came out like a scalded dog, winning that first game, 25-17, and I thought, uh-oh, this could be trouble for the 29-1 Lake Mills Bulldogs, but they have come back and taking it to the Indians, 25-15, 25-20, and now leading 10-3 here in game 4 of this best of 5. Lake Mills wins this one, it's over, and they'll have another conference championship. They have a quad coming up Tuesday here next week that we'll broadcast for you starting at 6, a little before 6, so we'll go on the air. Blocked at the net there by Hansen and Casperson, but able to dig it out was Forest City. Ooh, that one's blocked nicely by the Indians, but it's kept alive. Kessler gets it over, it's dug out. Blocked there, but it was the wrong side of the net it fell on. 10-4 in favor of Lake Mills, with Delaveau serving for Forest City. Gets it across, it's 10-4 Bulldogs. As dug out by Bauman, hits the rafters, and Groh gets it, they get it over nicely. Kessler knocked it over the net. That one is dug out by Ashley Groh, but unable to handle it was Casperson and out of bounds. 10-5 now. Forest City serving, trailing by 5. They need this game badly or they're done. Kessler winding up and smacking it off one of the Indian players and out of bounds for an 11-5 Lake Mills advantage. And Kessler will go back to serve. She needs to go on a run here. A little bigger cushion, 6-point lead's good, but not enough, never enough. Blocked at the net is Forest City, but they do get it across. Tipped, set there by Groh, but nice play at the net by Cora Holland. But they're going to call her into the net, I guess, and a point for Lake Mills, which does not make the student section of Forest City happy at all. But the ref's decision, 12-5. That one skips over the net for the Bulldogs. Casperson sets. Groh hits it. Oh, nope, she didn't even get it over the net. 12-6. Bulldogs lead. As Cora Holland serves for the Indians. Dressed in their red unis. Plus Lake Mills in the white. That's out of bounds off of Delaveau, and another point for Lake Mills as Joint comes in to serve, leading 13-6. Big 7-point lead for Lake Mills. Don't get complacent now. Keep pouring it on and get out of here with a win. That's out of bounds. 14-6. And Joint has been on fire as a server tonight. Let's see if she can go on a little run here. 4, 5, 6 points and kind of try and put it out of reach. Nice dig and smash by Holland. Puts it back into the Indians side of things as they make some substitutions. 14-7 Lake Mills. If they win this game, they win the match 3-1. If not, still have that 5th and deciding game to go. But they are up by 7. Here's that one is in, and another point for Forest City. 14-8. Coach Beamer's got to rally the troops here and get their serve back. Hansen over to Groh, off of the Indian player, and a point for Bulldogs. And now they have a 15-8 lead as Laura Knutson comes in to serve. Joint stays in the ball game. (15-8) serving Lake Mills. Blocked nicely at the net by Megan Groh. Drops in for a point for Lake Mills. They're up 16-8. That's a timeout, and we'll be back with more volleyball action from Lake Mills on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. It is loud and it is rocking here at Lake Mills. Both student sections are very proud and loud tonight, answering each other back and forth with their various cheers. It's a great atmosphere tonight. Lake Mills is getting the better of it on the court. And they have 2-game-to-1 advantage, and they lead here 16-8. And they're serving. And it is Laura Knudsen with the serve. Oh, Wilhelm puts that one down. Oh. Wow. That was a good effort by Forest City. Everybody in the gym thought it was over, but they knocked it into the net in their 3 hits. So a point does go to Lake Mills, 17-8. As Knudsen continues to serve, and that one's going to go out of bounds off of Forest City, 18-8. And now they can sense it. Bulldogs are slapping high fives, high tens, I guess. With a 10-point advantage, needing 7 to win the whole match. Knudsen continues, but that's slammed home by the number 1, Kelsey Koch. She's a good player. Forest City's got a lot of talent on their side of things. They travel well, too, their student section. And that one is dinked over the net, and Joint can't get it. So another point, 18-10. Forest City closing to within 8. Nobody too nervous yet on the Bulldog side. They just gotta stay playing their game and get the serve back, close things out here. Nice blocks at the net, both Wilhelm and Groh manning that left side of the net. Wilhelm knocks it over, but no point there. They missed the block on that, but nicely dug in the second row there. There's a long volley here that hits the rafters and changes direction, and they can't handle it, and it's 19-10 Lake Mills. Good effort there by Emma Segerstrom of Forest City. Just unable to get to it. Nine-point lead now, Lake Mills serving. 6 points from the match. Wilhelm. There's a big presence there in the middle of the net at 5'11". That's nicely blocked but out of bounds. It's not much you can do about that. Ashley Groh was there. Point for Forest City, and they are not done yet. 19-11, Lake Mills leading. Game 4, best of 5. Bulldogs up 2-1. It's blocked nice by the Indians, but well, they held it together for a while, but knocked into the net and down by the Bulldogs, so it's 19-12. Kessler is blocked at the net. Here comes Wilhelm, knocking it down. Nice kill for her as Mallory has really been a force in the middle there. 20-12 is the score. 5 points from a victory are the Bulldogs. And they are sending Ashley Groh back to serve. Knudsen has a nice dig, and there's a smash by Kessler that's handled by the Indians and sent back over. Another nice long rally here. Up and over goes Wilhelm with the smash, but that's saved. Both teams are making some really nice plays here. Back over to Lake Mills. Set, Kessler, over. And that, wow. Lake Mills player must have touched it because they hit it like 5 times in a row, did the Indians. I didn't see it, but the refs are closer. That one is hit into the net by Forest City, so a point for Lake Mills, and it's 21-12. 21-12, my favorite Rush album. Serving Lake Mills with a big 9-point lead. And that one goes out of bounds, 22-12. And it's still Ashley Groh with a serve. 3 points away from the win. They dig it out and knock it over to the Indians. Wilhelm shoves it out of bounds, trying to finesse it over, but went a little too far. 22-13. As Forest City hangs in there. Long way to climb, though. Even if they are able to take this game, they still have to win another one. Whereas Lake Mills just needs to win one of the next 2. And they do have a 10-point advantage now after Casperson puts that one down. 23-13. And it's Mallory Wilhelm serving and getting a point there. And it's a match point now, 24-13. Championship point. 1 to go. Here's the set. And Hansen tries to end it, but was blocked. Kessler puts it over. But that's a point for Forest City to hang in there. 24-14. 10-point advantage for Lake Mills. Their deep bench, and is that in? It was in. It's a win. And another conference championship for Lake Mills, it appears. I don't know if they have another conference game left, but they do have a 1-game advantage now on Forest City, so I guess that is a championship for them. Both teams congratulating each other. 25-14 was the final here in the 4th, and turns out deciding game as Lake Mills lost the first game but came back to win 3 in a row. 25-15, 25-20, 25-14. They go to 8-0 in the conference, 30-1 overall. We'll be back with some final thoughts here from Lake Mills on LakeMillsBulldogs.com. We are back here in Lake Mills with, of course, the final result here. 3-1, a match point. It's a championship for the Lake Mills Bulldogs. Their 15th top of Iowa Conference championship in a row. Unbelievable run that Jim Beamer has his team on here, the head coach of the Bulldogs. And they had all they can handle tonight, losing the first game 25-17, and then taking 3 in a row, 25-15, 25-20, and 25-14 to go to 8-0 in the conference, 30-1 overall. I'm not sure if they'll advance any in the rankings. They came in 6th in 2A, while Forest City falls to 7-1 in the conference, 20-3 overall, and they were 15th ranked in 3A coming into tonight. Nothing to hang their head low about. They gave Lake Mills all they could handle. It's just the Bulldogs continue their conference domination here in 2017, and we got more information coming up here on Bulldogs TV. It's powered by Live Sports Live online at LakeMillsBulldogs.com and on Facebook at Facebook.com/Bulldogs-TV. Back with some final thoughts from Lake Mills after this. And back to wrap it up here at Lake Mills High School after the Bulldogs pulled out a big win to win their 15th conference title in a row, beating previously unbeaten in the conference Forest City in 3 straight after losing the first game 25-17. They came back and won 25-15, 25-20, and 25-14. They do have a quad coming up next Tuesday at 6 o'clock, so we'll be on the air shortly before that. Hampton, Dumont, Nashua, Plainfield, and North Butler will be here at Lake Mills next Tuesday. And our next broadcast will be this Friday as the Lake Mills football team is in action against Central Springs for a home game at 7 o'clock on Friday. Tell your friends about that and tell them to tune in to LakeMillsBulldogs.com for audio and video of that. And we're getting close to tournament time for both football and volleyball, and we will not be doing tournament games. We could only do home games, regular season home games for Lake Mills. So we'll cover the quad next Tuesday, football game this Friday, and I believe we're done with volleyball and football, with basketball starting up in late November for both the boys and girls, and we will follow them all season long for their home games here on Lake Mills Bulldogs TV, or LakeMillsBulldogs.com. Again, 8-0 in the conference and the 15th conference win in a row for the top of the Iowa Conference for Lake Mills. 30-1 overall with their victory tonight under head coach Jim Beamer. And thanks again to all of our sponsors, and we'll hear from more of them as we go here too. We'll talk to you again on Friday night for football action at 7 o'clock. Lake Mills against Central Springs, and then next Tuesday for more volleyball action here on LakeMillsBulldogs.com.